Welcome to this Fusion 360 3D Quick Tips tutorial video. I'm going to go over a few quick tips in Fusion 360 that are going to make your life a lot better. So the first one is let's turn off incremental move and snap to grid. So you can see that when I move, this is going to be snapping to the nearest increment, which in this case is 1 millimeter. And when I do this chamfer, it also is going to do the same effect, and I don't want that. You know, I'm a concept artist, not a mechanical engineer. So just go down to this menu at the bottom of the screen, turn off incremental move, and snap to grid. Alright, the next awesome tip I'm going to give for Fusion 360 is using the push and pull tool. So you can see if you right click right here, press pull, but it also has the Q key. So Q key on your keyboard is going to be press pull. Now, press pull can do a lot of different functions. So like if I select this face, I can move it back and forth. If I want to adjust this bevel, I can simply use the press and pull tool, hit Q, select the face, and I can press and pull. And another quick tip, if you're coming from poly modeling, you can bevel and fill it in ways you can't do in poly modeling, such as over other edges and subtract a lot of material quite easily that would normally be difficult or need a boolean. So another cool feature. And there's another thing that you can also do with the press pull tool, which is delete. And I don't know if a lot of people know that, but you can do stuff like move it up here. So first of all, I can add to it, but then I can delete from it. So if I just use that press pull tool and I drag it out here, the geometry looks messed up, but it's fine. Just hit out enter and it'll delete it. So with the press pull tool, we can manipulate sizes of things, manipulate fillets, and also delete. There's a lot of other things you can probably do with it, but these are the main things. You can even scale things at the same time in different directions. So if we select here, we can scale outward like this evenly. Yeah, so it's one of the most useful tools in Fusion 360, and I suggest using it quite a bit. Alright, so let's say you're using Fusion 360 and you made a mistake. You maybe misaligned something a degree or two, and now it's not perfectly set into your viewport, on the perfect XYZ axis. So how do we fix that? Or let's say we have a collection of objects, that's an even bigger problem. How do we fix this problem? So I'm just going to make two objects here, and I'm going to show you two ways. So the first one is we're going to need to draw a box, and we can just click the origin or the axis on the origin that we want to align it to, hit new body, and we're going to align these objects. And I'm going to show you how to do it together with both of them at the same time and one at a time. So this is the align tool, and so basically if we go to modify align, or control A in my case, I can select object bodies, and I can click from. So this is the object we want. We want to have the face be white, and we want to select here, and then we're going to pick 2. And so you can see now that after I hit OK, that they're now perfectly aligned on this axis, and now everything is straightened out. But the other object isn't, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So first of all, we're going to create a component. So right click this object, and then create component from bodies. Now I'm using the right click menu. So right click, create component from bodies, hit OK, and now we have a new component. We're going to name this align stuff. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it into that component. So I'm going to right click this object, move to group, and then hit my target group. Now I'm going to go over here to the component, and in this case we're going to have to open this component here, and we want to go to bodies, and we're going to place that right there. And now if we click this, we have our first component. So we can align this whole component. So we'll just pick one face, doesn't matter, and we'll click object, and we'll set it from from bodies to component. Then we'll click the 2 face, and now you see both of them moved at the same time. So now you've learned quickly in this tutorial how to use the align tool and to work with the basics of components. This next quick tip for Fusion 360 is that you can move and manipulate faces similar to how you would in a 3D program, but in some ways actually quite a bit better. So I'm going to set up a mesh really quick to demonstrate that and the robustness of Fusion 360's tools. So we can go here, press M for the move tool, and it's the move and copy tool. We can also right click to get to this menu, right click, and there's the move tool here, move and copy. I never use this menu, I always press M. And so I can click and pick where I want the pivot to come from. So I'm going to pick at the bottom here, and you can change that pivot if you'd like, by the way, by hitting set pivot. And then when the check mark displays and you have the pivot where it wants, you hit done, and that pivot is now live. So you can see I can rotate this face, and I can rotate it through other faces. And when I hit done, it'll make everything nice and cut, even though I didn't do like a Boolean operation or remove the other parts. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this tool in general to allow you to get some really interesting forms. And yeah, so there's a lot of other stuff I'll go over in different videos like what I just did, but in general, using the move tool will allow you to do a lot of crazy stuff, and you can even use it when there's fillets on an object. And you can see how Fusion 360 nicely and easily solves that. We can even move this one here. Deselect these. And you can see that I can get a new interesting result. So I can start playing with form in ways that I never would have been able to if I was using, you know, Moe or something. At least as quickly and as live, you know, as real time as possible. So this is one of the things that makes me really like Fusion 360 in general. It's just the ways that you can play with things. Like for example, I can, you know, rotate this plane up here. So yep, another cool tool. Hopefully it's helpful. Alright, so one of the first things that I suggest doing when you turn on Fusion 360 and you start getting into it is I suggest turning off the timeline, or rather the parametric modeling, and switch to direct modeling. And the reason for this is, you know, I don't think most of the time you're going to want to use these when you're doing concept art. You know, concept art is usually a bit dirty. And in general, for me, I find that using parametric modeling, the performance is a lot slower once your model gets complex enough. And in general, you know, there's still a lot of editable, you know, elements in Fusion 360. I can still change fillets after the fact without this parametric modeling on. So I always turn it off. So I suggest doing the same. Go up to your user account, hit Preferences up here in the right-hand corner, and then just go to Design and turn on, under here you see Design History. Go to Do Not Capture Design History. So from parametric modeling to direct modeling. And in general, you'll have to make a new scene, by the way, so for that to go away or restart Fusion. But yeah, in general, I find that this is much faster and better for concept artists. Alright, one more quick thing that I want to talk about is the ability to scale a circular object from its origin. So this is something that if you're new to Fusion 360 and the scale tool, you'll notice is pretty difficult. So if I hit the scale tool, it's out on the outside here, and I can't select a point in the middle of this cylinder to, you know, scale uniformly from. So we have to kind of work the system, and we're going to create a box. You know, you can do it from the create menu or from your S menu, and you click this face and draw that circle, that box out from that center point. And then we put a box here. Make sure you do new body when you create it. And now if we go to the scale tool, so select this and then go to the scale tool, which I have bound to a hotkey, I can pick a point now on this box, and then you can see the box isn't selected, and now I can just scale uniformly. So if I have a few bodies as well around this circular object, I can scale them in the same way, you know, if I have those also selected. So if you're starting out with Fusion 360, now you know about the scale tool, the basic of it, the fact that it exists, and also how to use it on something like that, which is probably something that's going to arise for somebody quite off the bat. Before I end this video though, I want to show you one quick thing when it comes to scaling just a cylinder on its own. You can easily use the push-pull tool to do this. So if you're not doing anything crazy, there's no reason to manually scale it. Just use the push-pull tool. It's it's the fastest. So yep, hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to drop a comment telling me what you would like to see videos of, whether it's Fusion 360, modeling, anything, and I'll see you guys in the next quick tips video.